Hello and welcome to another Let's Play. Me, GamerWolfSix of Disco Elysium. And last Let's Play, we worked towards a detective art degree, but also got ourselves this thingamajig, so we'll get more experience points eventually. But now we're talking about the revolutionary.
To foreign intervention, the coalition. Those people really took the mineral rights. The liberals took everything that wasn't nailed to the ground. The coalition took the ground. The ocean, the laws, and the people. The coalition of nations. Grad, Mesk, Vesper, Messina, Oranje, and Sur-la-Clay. The armed center of the world. They landed here and ended the revolution. It was the moralist thing to do.
So wait, this country did a revolution, and then other countries came and stomped out that revolution? Kind of like with France?
The moralists believe in keeping everything exactly the way it is. They believe in mineral rights, and not shooting people in the head. At least not in the same manner and volume as the others do. They are the long-standing provisional rulers of Revachol now, the coalition government. This is their zone of control. They embolden the RCM with crumbs of the same law they took. Technically speaking, you are a moralist.
The color of moralism is blue. The official motto of Moral Intern, or Moralist International, is a blue forget-me-not, a piece of grey sky. Unofficial. For a moment, there was hope.
Like, I'd like to think myself as moral, even though I'm, like, heavily into porn and stuff. But it's also, like... I wouldn't want to side with moralists because it's usually, like, anti-gay stuff and anti-porn and... But then, for some reason, are completely fine with, you know, certain people diddling certain other people. Then hell yes I am, and also not.
An almost endearingly moralist standpoint. It must be hard to take a moderate approach to head shooting in your line of work.
Well, you see... I was about to make a joke where it's like, I haven't seen a lot of black people here, so it's easy, but it's like, actually there are black people here. I'm making the joke about cops.
The turn of the century revolution? Don't answer it. It's a trick question. The revolution began in '02 on the Isla of Grad, though by the end nearly the whole world had gotten involved. It wasn't a who, but a what. A pandemic of Zarat, a particularly virulent prion disease, which the authorities in Grad proved unable to contain. Then Marzolf came along and overthrew the government. It made people overthrow their governments.
Oh, so not an actual disease.
Of course not. It was a highly infectious microorganism that destroyed brain tissue.
Oh, never mind.
The actual causes of the revolution were material. The pandemic only provided the spark.
It was a funny time in history. They discovered transistors and rock music, but they didn't know anything about prions. Nobody did.
What's a prion?
From Revachol and Grad? Not far. The world managed to cauterize itself. Marzolf's government was overthrown in '08, and the coalition crushed the Revachol commune 2 years later. It was the end. Why? You and I, officer. Our lives in the zone of control.
It's weird they didn't tell us about it. A prion is a misfolded protein that induces misfolding of normal variants of the same protein.
A city-state divided into free market zones under the everlasting interregnum of the coalition of nations, and you, of course, the citizens' militia. The zone of control is the third incarnation of Revachol, after the failure of the suzerain and the commune. Modernity. They developed the marvels of the inter-estuary communication. telematic milieus, radiation, colored plastics. Meanwhile, in Revachol West, the aftermath continues for the 5th decade.
51 minus 8 equals 43.
Time flies.
Mm-hmm.
The 20s saw a decade of urban war, west of the river leveled, offshore platforms in flames. Still, it's regarded as an improvement on what came before. 08 to 19 was simply hell. The 30s? Things settled down in the 30s. Revachol East transformed itself into the world's largest tax haven, with the international community's blessing. For the first time, in a long time, it seemed like things were going somewhere. Yes, and quantitative easing. It was a market
What's
mirage,
that?
unfortunately. The 40s dispelled it. An Isla-wide hangover, you might say. So, here we are. Welcome to reality, baby.
Bye, babe.
For her to be where she is, Wild Pines Group must have picked the right side.
They picked the winning side. That's why they're here, and others are not.
Guess I got lucky.
Perhaps it wouldn't have turned out that way had I been in charge. I might have bet on the king and led the Pines to doom. I would have sided with the cannons. If you'd seen the calibers of the things, you might have too. Perhaps it's better I was born when I was. 10 of the 14 Indo tribes got it wrong. Feld, Kupri, Tricentennial. So I suppose I would have been in good company. Good question. What would you have done differently?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just learning this world.
And I asked you, past-less detective of the Citizens Militia, what insight has acute encephalopathy given to you?
Choosing. I'd have killed more.
So
Hopefully.
a quarter of humanity simply lost their minds. And how would you stop a prion, a complex folding protein, unlife, with a technology 50 years ago?
So, capitalism right there. I could try, I guess.
Good hygiene. Really. A very moderate solution to an extreme problem. It's those sort of half measures that doomed the authorities in Grad.
Fair enough.
When they failed to step up, Marzov and his party stepped in. In this particular case, maybe a more robust state response might have been appropriate.
Opinions expressed here do not reflect the official position of the RCM.
And what is your official position, Lieutenant?
My position, ma'am? My parents got ripped to shreds in the revolution. I would have gone the same way. I was saved by being 2 years old. That's my position. The abattoir.
Understandable. They are what they are. Who knows? An afterbloom may yet come. Anyway, enough sentimentality.
Not so fast. Who is she in all this? Ask her who she is. She owes you an answer.
Yeah, I think we also need to interview her about something.
She won't maneuver her way out of this one.
I am the vilest of the vile. A traitor. A devourer of nations and infants. I am an ultra.
She raises the corner of her mouth, smirking, revealing a canine.
A liberal.
Ultra-liberal. It's a type of liberal. From the revolution. It's, not the moderate kind.
I liberate pretty hard myself.
No, not like me. I am the nether creature of the Forbidden Swamp who pushed the king under a shitwagon and betrayed the revolution. Are you liberated enough to offer up your home on a plate for financial colonists? No, I think not. Tell me, now that I've uncoiled myself, do you find me frightening?
Yeah. I forgive you, but only because you're charming.
A devil, who being of great charm and guile, sneaketh into the homes of the godly.
Val de bleu.
I hope we're able to continue as friends, despite my scaly bulk and my intimidating liberal credentials. This was not the plan all along.
I was just fucking with you.
When the dust settled, the liberals were the only ones left to clean up the mess. By virtue of their survival, they were handed enormous power to shape the future. This was all our last generation managed. With due respect to our overlords, the eternal caretaker government that keeps Martinez a monument to the efficacy of its artillery, I would not have relinquished sovereignty to the coalition. Not here in Martinez, and not in the Stella Maris or Delta Beachheads either. If not for my own sake.
She realizes her small, cold fists are clenched. She loosens them.
Then for my daughters. We had an obligation to defend our sovereignty. We should have burned the whole Isola down rather than let them have it. Yes, I suppose I am. But I wouldn't be a patriot anywhere but here.
Seditious talk, man.
Yeah.
Perhaps. My intellectual vanity will be my undoing.
You're no dummy yourself.
No. Or intellectual vanity will be my undoing. Eh.
A
Fuck
smart
it.
boy getting smarter. One basic term of reality at a time.
Yes. What is this thing you call floating? Why does your boat stay on it?
Yes. Whatever else I am, I'm also a mother. And a wife. A bird? A sphenicid? A flightless bird of the polar regions? Of course you're not, my dear. I'm just terrible at guessing games. Ah. This is the pier of Rue de Saint-Ghislaine, 33A, where the tenants have been kind enough to rent me a slot. Or two. A pre-revolutionary tenement. Old buildings are called tenements, you see. And new buildings, bâtiments. After les bâtiments nouveaux. But 33A and 33B are not nouveaux. They're old. This one used to be 8 to 10 stories tall. A real high-rise by the standards of the last century. Built to mirror the skyscrapers across the bay in the Delta. That was before the war, of course. Mostly the urban middle class, I believe. This was once primo real estate, before the cannons lopped 4 or 5 stories off. Splat, splat.
You could be wrong, but from here it appears as if she's running the brush across her throat in a soaring motion.
Wonderful. The girl in the old lady rags looks like a sullen and rebellious member of a teen infraculture. Yes, you and I belong to the supraculture. We're common, the herd. The music on the radio, the food in the chain restaurant, those are all too popular for the girl in the old lady rags. She prefers a fantasy world, an infraculture with its own dress code and vernacular. It is an illusion, I'm afraid. There is no refuge from the supraculture.
I understand everything.
I can't. That's how simple it is. One may dye their hair green and wear their grandma's coat all they want. Capital has the ability to subsume all critiques into itself. Even those who would critique capital end up reinforcing it instead. All right. What next?
Suddenly, you're not so sure you're part of the supraculture.
And what would that be?
Disco. Cut.
She lets out an unrestrained laugh, the crow's feet stretching onto her cheeks.
My reality-impaired colleague is not so far off. Many of the RCM's fashions, even weapon preferences, borrow heavily from classic Vespertine cop shows. My precinct alone has 3 officers who go by the name Ace. But please, do continue this reality exploration. I was just remarking.
Yes, let's.
What is this one supposed to be? Roll, 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 roll.
It remains a mystery what you mean by this something close. This isn't about you. It's about reality.
Okay, I guess you put one in these.
Glad to have been of assistance.
Maybe safety What's this?
What's this? We're getting reports of normal, reasonable, temperate political opinions somewhere in Martinez.
I'm real radical.
It's also about that, but it's also more. Perhaps it's the hangover. Perhaps it's a temporary surge of serotonin, but something tells you it's time to become a citizen of the Kingdom of Conscience.
Is that one of the things that is on my list of things to get? Not really.
It is not a place. It is a moment in time that can only arise in the right circumstances. In all of human history, it's only been achieved a handful of times.
Remove viewers, bringing the law, regular law official, 15th something or other, cleansing out the rooms, caustic echo, wasteland or reality. I don't think so. Oh, let's make sure that that doesn't, you know, break something. What is that thing? What was it again? Kingdom of Conscience. I mean, sure, we can have that on, I guess.
It is, isn't it? History's greatest catastrophes have been brought about by people trying to make the world a better place. Too quickly. That's the genius of Dolores Day. She recognized that progress is meaningless if its gains are lost because of instability. Real, lasting change can only come about gradually, increment by increment. Tisk tisk, just because you live in the present doesn't mean you have the right to place your needs above the needs of the future. You may never live to see the Kingdom of Conscience. Your children may not. Even your grandchildren might not. But that's no excuse not to keep working. What rationality? What sang-froid?
What?
Do you believe the status quo is preferable to chaos and bloodshed?
Depends on the status quo.
Then you've never lived through real chaos. Sometimes, in the face of great disaster, defending the status quo is progress. What you want is immaterial. The Kingdom of Conscience is coming, whether you like it or not.
Safety save. And then try that one thing again.
Good. What can I help you with? More lessons
here?
in basic reality?
6 kilometers southwest, in the Valley of Dogs, Junior Officer Chad Tilbrook takes aim at a rabid black dog licking its wounds in the grass.
Oh, this is legendary? Huh.
To his left, his partner, Emil Mullins, whispers, "You heard what happened to Tequila Sunset in Martinez?" "Yes, he lost his mind," Tilbrook answers, fingers on the trigger. "Don't worry, Emil." He pulls it out slowly. Slowly now. He'll find it again. We always do.
You? You're an officer of the RCM. Preciso Mundo. Nothing more nor less than the de facto law enforcement body of post-revolutionary Revachol, Detective.
Yes, we are the Revachol Citizens Militia.
He's being sarcastic.
Yes, that means not de jure. The RCM acts in what is poetically called the twilight of international law, both at the behest of the coalition government and to its chagrin. The RCM's responsibilities are defined by the Emergency, Wayfarer and Aliments Acts, 3 pieces of legislation keeping the city in a, let's be honest, laissez-faire stasis to the benefit of foreign capital.
All 3 are good to know when we are out policing.
There's nothing basic about your role, Detective. It's true that the RCM keeps everything the way our seemingly permanent provisional rulers like it. Yet, on the other hand, I know these people. I deal with them daily. Let me tell you, dear, they are not fans of you. The post-revolutionary decade was a disaster for the coalition government. Revachol in the 20s was hell, especially on the west side of the river. Gang warfare, a botched privatization scheme, a nuclear pile meltdown. They called it the international zone because no nation wanted to claim responsibility. The RCM restored peace where the coalition failed. A true blue citizens' initiative. They will never forgive you.
That's somewhat of an exaggeration. In reality, ours is a mutually beneficial arrangement. Revacholians get to keep the peace in Revachol, and the coalition doesn't have to worry about it. Anyway, sorry to intrude.
Yes, Lieutenant. Permit me to conclude with this. Who you are, to me, is the police. The only legitimate law enforcement authority in Revachol. And if those authorities drink so hard they need help recalling the basic terms of reality, well, I'm here to help.
I already did that, so...
Glad to have been of assistance.
Was
With
there...
that I know. Anything else?
Was there a, Didn't we get him? Oh, right, we have to boil him or something? I need to do that. Oh, this is timed? Or what? Hmm? Are we done with talking to her about stuff? I thought there was like some sort of thing we needed to do.
What would you like to know? Good. What we do.
There was a touch of discomfort there. She wants to merely represent.
The Pines, and that is...
The Wild Pines group is one of the original Revachol. She nods.
Of course. I'm glad you are...
Disappear?
Yes.
This forewoman, her name?
Sadly, the company records do not even give a name. She's downright the point of...
Thank you for your concern, ma'am. We'll be just fine.
Of course. How else can I help? I'm afraid I can't say any more until we've taken care of formal protocol.
Oh, it's a white one, so...
Feelings will guide the way.
I assure you, it is no small matter for me either. We all share the responsibility for disarming this situation. I hope you have a badge for me as soon as possible.
Spread your hands.
Trust me, officer, I am fully committed to resolving this impasse. This isn't some side gig for me.
She's silent. The wind flaps the sail above her.
Officer. You know, I don't mean to sound cold, but if you want something, you have to give something back. More than just guilt.
You're doing it. Despite your own best efforts, you're still getting it. Somehow.
I'll be frank with you. If I'm going to break protocol, I need to be able to justify it to my superiors. They're going to want to see something tangible. The Union is conducting drug trade out of the harbor. It's an open secret in Martinez. Surely it must not come as a complete surprise to the RCM either. Perhaps it's time to look into it. Or you can find your badge, which honestly seems like a lost cause.
Detective, a word in private before we continue. This is not going quite as I hoped it would, Detective.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was expecting you to use your unorthodox technique to keep her off balance, and not volunteer us to be her henchman.
I mean, there's drugs, and drugs are bad, okay? I thought it was going so well.
This woman is running circles around us. She might have known about your misplaced badge all along, or she's simply an adept improviser. Either way, we've played straight into her hands.
Maybe this is all her plan. She might have heard about you.
Yeah.
No. If there is reasonable suspicion, we must investigate. Otherwise, she could claim we are siding with the Union, or that we are on their take. We'd never hear the end of it. What I propose is, we ask her, then we investigate, briefly. But do not share the outcome of this investigation with her. We tell her it's done and demand for her information on the lynching. I wouldn't go that far. Her reaction did come off as sincere to me. I think she's just quick to adapt. She's a professional, after all.
Okay. We'll find my badge eventually, hopefully.
You're back. Good. It's quite straightforward. Someone is using Terminal B to smuggle raw ingredients from the Samar and Isola into Revachol with the Union's blessing. Wild Pines has suspected it for years.
Ingredients for what, ma'am?
Meth and dextroamphetamine, GBL, and various synthetic psychedelics. Honestly, it might be quicker to say what you can't make from the stuff. Yes. After they clear the terminal, we lose track. The actual production is taking place at various sites in and around Jamrock Quarter, north of here.
Wild Pine seems to be well apprised of the local drug trade, ma'am. Do you mean to say the Union also produces the product? Sells drugs, I mean?
We're in logistics. It's our business to know. And no. As far as the company knows, the Union does not produce it. They transport the ingredients for a cut. Yes, but you won't get anything out of Evrat and the Dock Workers Union. Still, every chain has its weak link.
The handoff. The motor lorries at the roundabout.
Precisely. Someone needs to move the ingredients from the harbor into the city. Once they reach Jamrock, they're distributed to a network of local manufacturers well beyond our grasp. But in transit, they're vulnerable.
How convenient that they're stranded like beached whales at that roundabout.
Perhaps you've noticed that a number of lorries are tangled in a traffic jam at the roundabout just now. Interview the drivers who are still hanging about. One of them might be waiting for a crucial shipment.
Her irises are light green, like the river Esperance in bright daylight, upstream where it's clearer.
I'll be explicit. If you find this driver, I will share company secrets with you.
Uncovering Union secrets could also give you an upper hand when dealing with them.
Yeah, let's just continue a little
You
bit.
did. On more than one occasion. Apparently, there's some sort of inter-precinct disagreement about whose jurisdiction this area falls under.
We know the company has launched its own probe into the union's alleged involvement. We also know it's come up empty. It's not just the RCM. No one's been able to find any hard evidence.
Well, here's your chance, officers. No. We asked East Motor Track to raise the drawbridge. The road company is a partner of one of our subsidiaries. However, this is a limited time opportunity. Once the complaint has been processed by the Trade Committee, they'll have no choice but to lower the drawbridge, and the operation will continue. Thousands of litres of raw ingredients will pour onto the streets of Revachol. Not the east across the river, but the west. The vulnerable, the weary.
Well, at least this solves one mystery.
What is that, Lieutenant?
Why I had to call East Motor Track and beg them to open a drawbridge for me. I'd wondered since I first drove in, on my motor carriage.
I am sorry for the inconvenience, Lieutenant Kisaragi, but we need them trapped here. This is a unique opportunity. I'm sure you understand. How do you think they're financing this strike? There are thousands of unpaid dock workers going strong for the 4th month straight.
There was a shakedown of local businesses preceding the strike. Many were squeezed to bankruptcy to fund it.
With all due respect to these desert cacti, the contents of a few cash registers cannot provide for 2,000 men. The local businesses can scarcely provide for themselves.
The unions were shaking down businesses?
Precisely. Smuggled out of that very gate at night, most likely, then loaded onto lorries and driven to Jamrock. You simply need to find one driver who will open up to you. The two might even be connected.
Or not. Though, if you have evidence to the contrary, I'm eager to hear it.
As eager as I am to share it, Lieutenant, once the job is done. Yes?
Yeah.
Excellent. According to my reports, there are at least 3 lorry drivers lingering near the roundabout. Hopefully one of them will know something. It may come to nothing, or it may just blow the case wide open. I can keep the drawbridge up for a few more days at least. You should have the time you need. In the meantime, let me know if there's any other way I may be of assistance.
I want a bottomless thermal cup. I also want to be bottomless. Ooh woo. And it seems like with that, that's going to be the end of this Let's Play. So, please comment, cause I like comments. Tell me what you like, dislike, tips, tricks, otherwise. If you like my YouTube and like see grow, then please like, subscribe, and check out the videos to help it grow. And please remember to spay and donate to your animals to help control the pet population. Oh, they're playing some sort of game there, but I got stuff to do. And until next time, another Let's Play by me, GamerWolfSix, of Disco Elysium, a game where I'm a super cop. Hey, you know, who is also a moderate. So thanks and see ya.